Dude.
Yo, so Dom, you said you were hungry. You didn't pick up any chicken breast this week?
I'm just gonna. I plan to have salad just every night tonight. So just to force myself to try to cut down on calories.
Hey, Dave,
Wow.
8 thumbs up, no
Okay.
thumbs down yet. So
Hopefully Dom doesn't get hangry on us tonight, right? So.
Don't piss me off. Don't fucking
Eight of
piss
them
me
is
off
us.
because I'll bite your fucking head off.
The secret, Gary, he's always hangry.
Exactly. Yes. On that note,
Don't mess with Sasquatch because I'll fuck you up.
Sasquatch.
Down
All right,
squat.
guys. Well, it looks like we are live, and just say a quick hello to everybody who's listening out there. This is episode 18 of Breaking the Mold, and if you guys are here listening here, and we're here sharing, then this is our time together to share some thoughts on a topic-driven podcast in the Roma Collectors YouTube channel. You'll find us here live every Tuesday on YouTube at 8 o'clock. And you can find the audio version of this podcast on iTunes and Google Play through Podcast Addict. Feel free, go ahead and subscribe, leave a 5-star review. It certainly helps the show and keeps us motivated to keep trying to be entertaining in any way, shape, or form that we can. If you watch us live on YouTube, like the video. What do they need to do, Jordan, when they see it?
Kill Bossa Slam that like button. Helps us.
Fantastic. Even though the wellness challenge is over, you can still kabasa slap it. Go ahead and subscribe. There's no charge. It doesn't cost you anything other than your time and your participation. Let us know that you're here in the live chat. And look, we always like to try and shout out everybody who's here at the end of the show. Sometimes we have some giveaways to share. We appreciate the active members of the community. So you never know. Stick with us. Hang out to the end. And, we'll see how things transgress here for the night. So I think we've got everybody here tonight, which is exciting. It's a full house.
Whole squad.
Yep, everybody's here.
it's nice to be on a show with a full panel, I'll tell you.
Yeah, right. I mean, the whole. I gotta scroll across the screen. But let's go ahead and get started. I get to be in control and decide who goes first and who goes at the end. But Energon Addict, tell us how your Tuesday is and how you doing, man.
I'm good, man. I'm good. You did a good job, Gary. I gotta say, I like that whole little fucking twist on shit. But I'm good, man. Happy Tuesday, guys. Am I talking about what I got also?
Yes,
Gary?
please. Yeah, let us know. Let us know.
So
you're always adding something. We know.
I got a lot of shit. I'm really not gonna go there because then I get all the shit from you guys. But most recently today, I finally got the new SH Figuarts Vader. I think we were just speaking about it in the pre-show. Nice. It's okay, it's not perfect, so they might have the version 3 come out eventually. But
jeez,
it's still. I think it still does a better job than the last one. But some people might compare it to the Black Series and say the Black Series might be better. With that said, I also got like some Tamashi stands and effects, because I got it from an import site, and that's about it.
So, Dave, do you have the first Figure Arts Vader still? Also,
I do. Yeah, I do.
So, what do you think? What are your plans? Do you think you're going to keep them both, or are you going to swap them out?
For now, I'll probably keep it. I mean, it's not going for much. People are like unloading those for like $40. So,
I gotcha.
Somebody needs one. Hit me up. If not, I'll probably just hold on to it for now. I actually if the helmet is better on that one, I might swap. If I can swap the heads out, I might, because I know some people have gripes about the helmet. So,
but it's a bigger head.
It is. Yeah, you're right.
Brian's an expert on
Wait for it.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to kind of go down the crew line there, and Mr. Pigment Surgery, JD, how's your Tuesday?
Wonderful. How are we?
Good to hear you. Dude, I'm doing fantastic. That's what I was waiting for.
Uh-huh. So, yeah.
What'd you get? Anything?
Surprisingly, I got absolutely nothing.
What?
Whoa.
Come on.
Stop the fucking presses.
Were you sick this week?
I don't remember getting anything.
I'm worried.
Yeah.
I'm worried.
No, I have a bunch of stuff on the way, but so
JD's
that don't fucking count.
Yeah, exactly. That's unfortunately, it does us no good here tonight.
Right. Yeah. So,
are you working on any projects for yourself or for anybody else? Kind of in limbo.
Yeah, I got a couple things going on. Finishing a couple dios. Working on some custom figures, and Chandra's been spending a lot of time here, and she's making robes for Jedi, like actual.
Oh, that JD put together for you with the paint?
No, only because I really haven't got the opportunity to take any pictures lately. I really don't get much privacy, but
my feelings are very, very hurt.
Yeah.
I bring it up because for the people listening out there, you know, and in the chat, just keep your eyes peeled for Energon Addict on Instagram, just because JD painted up one of the Bandai model kits, and we got to see it a couple weeks ago at the show in New Jersey, and it was absolutely phenomenal to take a look at. So,
oh shucks,
we'll see what that looks like soon. But moving on, all right. Big Dom, who is hungry. He's got a big vacation coming up, so we're going to have a couple weeks where we won't see him. He's going to be toy hunting in a different part of the country, I think. But how you doing, man? Yes.
Good. Good. Week is busy, you know, chilling.
Where was this?
Trying to get some, you know, pull some energy from God knows what, but
he's carb depleted. Everybody, for those of you guys who don't know, Dom's been killing it with his personal goals lately. But
that fucking cat.
What'd you get, Dom?
Bro? No wonder you got no strength.
I've been on this Mythic Legion kick, and I
picked baby
up this guy.
I thought you were going to say the Mythic Legion.
Oh,
my God, he's so good. He's so awesome. The paint job on him is amazing.
Would you pay, if you don't mind me asking?
I picked him up for $50. So it's not that bad. $15 more. eBay.
Oh, Dom Sportimus in the chat. He says you need a Baconator.
Yeah. Don't fucking say that shit.
Someone give that man a cheeseburger.
I just want a big ass roll, like big bowl of pasta or something.
He needs that rack of ribs that tipped over Fred Flintstone's car.
So, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and move on because Dom's got far less energy than he did when he hosted 2 weeks ago. So we're going to give you a chance to recuperate and rest up a little bit. Hey, he can still operate the machine though, folks. And anyone who can't watch, he just gave me a very
gave you the
energetic
Italian
gesture.
In other words,
all right, George.
Hey, how's it going? TGIT.
Good, man.
How are you doing, Gary?
Awesome. Doing really well.
I'm glad to hear. I was saying that because I saw you were about to drink and I wanted to fuck it all up.
Yep, that's fine.
So yeah, I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here with you guys. I missed being here last week. I got some cool stuff in. I got a couple of drifts. I got the MMC drift, and I got the Flames Toys drift.
Baller.
Nice. This is where people are probably gonna go, what? I actually like the MMC drift more.
He's smoking crack.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only had like a day to mess with the Flames Toys drift, and it's a very, very, very good figure, but it's more of a display piece than a figure. And
Jordan, I got a question. You know yourself. You know that you like the playability of toys and stuff like that. So what decides you to pick up the Flames Toys drift, knowing that it's not going to transform, it's not going to give you that playability that you're looking for?
Because I've been on a big Figuarts kick, and the MAS Prime that I got last year, I enjoyed the hell out of that figure. Mm-hmm. I guess a lot of it had to do with the fact that it scaled with GI Joes, but that was a non-transforming transformer, and it was big, imposing. I like Drift as a character. I like the whole idea of getting a transformer like that was like completely painted in nines, made. And I'm also, most of you guys know, a big Soul Chigokin fan.
It's true, yeah.
Not just the Voltron, but I've got like maybe 8 of them now. Actually, I'll have 9 because Cody's got one for me this weekend. But I love those figures. And I was kind of hoping to get the same vibe from this drift. And again, maybe I need more time to mess around with it. I love the engineering, but it's just to me, it's not that fun to handle.
Yeah. And it's not fun to handle because you think it's a little delicate in regards to when you're handling it?
Well, I already had to fix one piece on it, so I'm a little concerned. I'm concerned about chipping the paint. you know, it's just when it's on a shelf, I think it's going to look great. I think it's going to look, it's going to be like one of those pieces that when people come by in my display room, when I get that set up, they'll be, you know, wow, what is that? And I love the LEDs on it and everything. But
your display room, what are you in now? Your kitchen?
I'm in my office now. So you know, no, I'm for a lot of people that don't know, I'm actually looking at houses right now. So it's I want to have a basement set up and make it like a theater display room, and get some of my costumes on permanent display.
You mean mannequins?
Mannequins, yes. So I'll be looking to actually.
Let me know if you need some mannequins. I can.
Really?
Hey, Zero. What's going to be the maturity rating of those costumes there on display? Is it going to be?
It's going to be Kylo Ren and
13.
They're all
Kylo Ren and Captain America so far.
JD saw where I was going. I'm sorry. All right.
Well, I was going to finish my joke. I can hook you up with some mannequins and some dummies. Dave, say hello.
Yeah,
We saw it coming. Still clever.
Little short for my display purposes.
No problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We could always put them on a box.
Why is Kylo Ren on an egg crate? Fuck you, Dom.
Okay. Remember, I'm gonna see all you motherfuckers this weekend, right?
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see how that tune changes come Saturday. All right, cool. Awesome. All right, so going down the crew line there, Jose, who's normally getting a break. He's getting a break tonight, right? A couple weeks in a row, he gets to enjoy himself a little bit more. But Hurricane BX, how's everything going, buddy? How you doing?
Everything is good, Gary. Yo, awesome fucking intro. You're doing a fucking awesome. I think my seat's
Tried.
I don't think I'm. You know what I'm saying? But no, it's awesome. It feels good.
You got a drink. Excellent.
Got a drink in hand. It feels good to know that I can relax a little bit and just chill and maybe get a little bit inebriated, you know, because I don't have to worry about a whole spiel and start slurring my words and stuff. But I'm having a good time, guys. Good week. You know, there was a movie that came out that I was looking forward to seeing. Got to see it. Lived up to my expectations. I'm a wrestling fan. There was a special kind of like wrestling event, kind of like a house show, like a televised house show, but done on a WrestleMania type scale. And it was actually a pretty decent show. Enjoyed it.
Nice.
You know, so kind of all the nerd shit, you know, of the week was it was good and satisfying. You know what I'm saying? And it's Tuesday night, having a drink, and happy to be here with you guys.
Awesome. Very cool.
No hauls or anything like that. I mean, I got the two little bullshit legend. What is it? Those Power to Prime Masters from Wave 2. Finally picked those up. But that Generation Toy Gorilla that I had picked up, I remember saying that I was a little disappointed with the articulation because of some of the sculpting in the legs. But I actually had a chance to mess with the figure, transform it back and forth a few times, and I love it. I fucking love it. I'm in for that.
Your pictures are great.
Exactly. I was going to say the pictures make that alt mode look really, really fun to mess around with.
Yeah, and that's like I usually like to keep my bots in robot mode, and for that one, he's staying in gorilla mode. There's something about that mode that just like I'm liking that figure way more than I thought I would.
Be careful.
So Jose,
Don't get too close.
I know you were kind of troop building, and maybe we'll come back to that. Kind of just gave me a little bit of an idea, but a couple of the unrustable motorcycle gangs. And you had started doing some custom work. Are you kind of keeping up with that, or anything new on that front, customizing wise?
Yeah, I had another little prospect. Like I had the one prospect I painted. I started work on the other one. Didn't come out like exactly to my liking and stuff like that. So I still have a lot to learn as it comes to like you know, with the paint applications and kind of getting it to how I want it, you know. So I have to experiment, but I've got to do it with some cheaper figures and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
You know, with all the, you know, the movie stuff going on, and we got Skullfest this weekend. Haven't had a chance to really dive in, but I'll be looking to doing that soon.
Nice, really cool.
Yeah.
I know JD always tells us on here that you got to practice, you know, and practice, and that's how you get making it look so good. So I give you credit for trying to do it on those guys, because it, you know, like you said, it's not the least expensive option you could probably go with. So
yeah.
Ballsy. Yeah. Cool, good deal. All right, well, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm done, brother.
All right. So last and certainly not least, Mr. Brian Brink, the analyzer.
What's up?
How are you?
Good. You know, really good now. because I just pulled this X-Transbots tailgate off the shelf and I started transforming a foot, and I think I fucking transformed the foot with no instructions.
Nice.
I feel like the smartest man alive right now.
Take that off your bucket list.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to small victories in life, right? You got to appreciate the good things. That's great.
Woo! Dude, that's awesome. So 2 more drinks later, I'll work on the next foot.
Isn't that what she said? No, I'm sorry. Okay.
Fucking yeah. Wait, Dean. I don't know. I harken back to the joke or the question Jisk asked me last night if I like to suck toes. So I guess after a few drinks, maybe. Yeah, we'll
That's
see.
kind of my thing. You find out.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Let's not go there tonight, please.
All right.
I'm sleeping. That's on this weekend.
That's ROC hangout talk when we're on.
Yeah, that's just gonna say.
I gotta ask you before anything else, Jose. Like, you gotta let me know when you do that, because when I pass you the blunt, you gotta let me know. You've been foot diving.
Hear anything about sucking toes? I'm gonna snap my fucking fingers right now.
All right.
Happy.
So, Brian, aside from rediscovering your X-Transbots tailgate, how's the rest of your Tuesday going?
Good. Work is good. I'm really fitting into my new role there nicely, which I like. And what do you call it? I got a new Figuarts Vader today.
Oh, you also got him. Nice.
Yeah, and this cape, man. I don't know about this cape. It's, Dave, I'm gonna need you to fondle my cape this weekend. Yeah, I need you to pose this dude. So yeah, you got it all wavy, but it's all lunchy.
No, what's funny is both of those drifts that I bought came with bendy capes, bendy ponchos, and there really is an art to getting it down.
Yeah. It's true. I am a novice with soft goods, so I usually work with hard things. So
Well then,
All right, we're gonna leave that. We're gonna leave that right there. I'm just gonna. Yep. I'm gonna pull hosting duties and move on from that. No, that's cool. Awesome. So, do you also have the other figure arts? Brian, the first release.
Yep. I packed them away a couple months ago. As I did pick up the Black Series, the last version, which I really like. And this thing looks good. I like it. I like that it's tall and taller than Stormtroopers, that is. And but I'm not gonna get rid of that other Figuarts because you always need an extra Vader for something, I expect. So when you're putting all these scenes together and whatnot. So
yeah. Cool. All right. Well, we may come back to that a little bit later. I think that's. I've got a few questions. I think as you guys are collecting these guys. So, well, good. Awesome.
Well, Gary, I got a question for you, brother. How are you doing this?
Dude, I'm doing wonderful. I'm having a good time. I always say on Tuesdays, it's been a long week because just my work schedule the first 2 days of the week. But I was actually more focused on hanging out with you guys tonight and trying to be somewhat engaging and maybe a little bit enlightening. The week so far it's been pretty good. I'll just kind of tell anyone listening, we may have a special guest pop on here in just a little bit, so we'll stay flexible for that. You never know. Keep people guessing a little bit. As far as hauls, it's true. I got also because sometimes I can't think for myself, and I think I am paranoid about repeating the infamous 2017 Soul Chigokan Voltron scenario. Take a shot. Yeah. I know.
Everybody drank. All right, Gary.
But I also picked up the Flame Toys Drift. So I'll give my opinion next week because I haven't had a chance to open it and really look at it yet. It just came today. But it may transition us into a topic. But the other thing I picked up was a significant other. My wife is now unemployed. So
you fired?
I don't know. You might say that there's some changes in the old G Money household. As far as what that looks like. No, it's actually a really good thing. I've mentioned here on the show before, we moved here. It's actually been about a year this month, kind of out in the Eastern Shore in Delaware, near kind of Ocean City, Maryland for my work. My wife gave up a very stressful career back in Massachusetts and essentially found a job here that she was doing really for fun. meaning, being social, getting out, engaging with customers and talking to people. My wife is super, super outgoing. She can have a conversation with anyone.
She
And
did this during the
unfortunately,
daytime time, right?
say it again.
The way you described that job it was done during the daytime.
Yes.
All right, good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes.
Damn, Brian. That's just wrong.
Wow.
Red light special.
Well, go back and re-listen.
Anyway, listen. No, so so we had kind of talked, and she wasn't happy, and we were in a position where it certainly wasn't monetary based. But we had a discussion, and I finally told her, I said, look, the energies that you're putting into that environment being unappreciated, there's an investment there for us from the household because we're giving stuff up. And, I would rather you not work or, take a break and then look for something else, because we are in a position where you don't have to do anything. There's nothing, big on the horizon for us as a household, but the investment, it's not there, and why bother, right? Life's too short. Why put in that energy when you're unappreciative? And I'm going to kind of mention, we may have some spoilers come out, but it got me thinking about, obviously the Avengers, Infinity War, and look, there's a movie 10 years in the making with how many, I don't even know, right? How many countless movies in between. And, a lot of us as fans, whether it be a, kind of superficial fan, meaning, we're casual in the approach or really had followed the stories ahead of time. I thought it might be a good conversation topic, a little bit of what's it feel like, when you invest that much into a property, and do you get the payoff that you're hoping for, with the buildup and the, what things turn out that way. We talked a few months ago about Star Wars and The Last Jedi and some changes there. And, the investment most of us have in that franchise over pretty much our entire lives, as being kids. I'm sure a lot of people, in the chat who listen can kind of feel that way. But I'll just kind of pose the question to the group for those of us who have seen the movie. And again, there may be spoilers that come out. We're not trying to do my intentions, I guess, aren't to do a like and dislike necessarily. But, I'm just kind of curious what you guys think that saw the movie. And, did you get some returns on that investment that you put in, or did it kind of just fall like any other, action comic movie for you? Let's see what you guys think.
I definitely felt like I got a return on my investment. So I've been a lifelong comic book fan. I'm more a DC guy than a Marvel guy, but I don't take sides. I enjoy all comic books. And I remember reading this storyline, the Infinity Gauntlet, back in the 90s. To see what Marvel has done with their cinematic universe, I think is like incredible, because like we could say this movie's been 10 years in the making, but before this whole shared movie universe, like it was never really attempted before. All, the superhero movies were separate. They were never interconnected like this. And like, I feel quite frankly, we're kind of spoiled. Yeah. Because now we're getting it with the we're getting it with the DC side, and we've been getting it with Marvel the past 10 years. They've done a good job. With the original Phase 1 films, leading up to that first Avengers film, that was the first time we got to see like these heroes team up in a film, and you were amazed by that. And that was 2012, and then at the end of that movie, you got that teaser scene with Thanos at the end, and we were like, oh man, and all the fans knew. Oh, they're gonna build up to that. The Infinity Gauntlet, they're gonna do it. And honestly, in my honest opinion, I feel like they didn't have to wait this long. But the fact that they did, and they put the investments in each individual character's own movie, so you get to know them and care, and you learn about the Infinity Stones before they just lay it all out to you in this film. Because he basically goes, and does what he does in this film. I don't want to be too spoilerific for the people out there that might not have seen it. But this, like I said, this could have been done earlier, but just the fact that they didn't, and they took their time to tell the story properly and to give you all the information beforehand so they could hit you with what this movie did. I think they did an incredible job. Highs and lows for sure. I'm not saying these movies are perfect by any means, but I feel like the investment was worth it. Just thinking from over 10 years ago that we would never even get this, and now we know we're getting it, and for it to be good, I fucking enjoyed it. And I think they did a great job.
Awesome. Very cool.
So, yeah, I love the movie. And to kind of piggyback off of what Jose said, yeah, they could have done this earlier, but the fact that they waited is what makes it so significant. You've never had a build-up to a movie like this before, ever, that I can think of. I mean, you have like so many James Bond movies, but there's never been like a payoff like this, where all of those movies culminated into one big event. And what makes this movie interesting, and I guess I want to pose this to you guys, have you had issues recommending this movie to people who aren't caught up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because you need so many pieces of the puzzle in order to get the most out of this movie? Like, I think that the payoff is essentially more than worth it. But it's interesting to like judge it and critique it as a movie, because it's so heavily dependent upon seeing all these other movies in order for it to achieve the impact it ultimately has.
Oh, for sure.
So
for sure.
I'm going to pause you there, Jordan. Please hold that. That's a really good thought. And I'll say just real quickly for myself, my wife came with me to the movies a couple weeks ago to see, I think we saw A Quiet Place with the aliens at Hunt by Sound.
What?
And they showed the Avengers preview, and she actually made a comment to me about, hey, I'd probably come see that with you. And she's not seen any of the movies. And I said, absolutely not. I was like, I'm just going to go by myself, because I can't handle all your questions and not knowing what's going on. But we'll come back to that, because I think that's a real interesting perspective on the topic. But our special guest is here. And Jay, man, thanks so much for joining us from Plastic Fanatics is here on Breaking the Mold, man. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having
What's
me.
going on,
Mister?
The Punisher.
Awesome, dude. Thanks so much for making it on, for and kind of hanging out with us for a little bit. How's your week going so far?
Good so far.
It's good.
It stays that way.
It's hopeful. Any I know you kind of shared a clip just a couple days ago, but any new hauls or anything that you added so far this week for yourself?
Nothing so far. Later on in the week, hopefully, we should have a couple of boxes coming. So
awesome. That's cool. Good deal. Okay. Yeah. So we were kind of just talking a little bit about the investments we've put into some of the properties, and kind of getting some thoughts around the Avengers movie and what we felt like we had gotten. And Jordan, you had posed a question, right, about the
yeah,
say
Jordan,
it again?
yeah. Well, to your point, like it is hard to recommend this movie to anybody that hasn't seen any of the other previous films, because they're going to be completely lost. That's probably the one flaw that you could give on this film, is that it can't be watched as a standalone. You have to, in order to know what's going on, you had to have seen the previous chapters in the story. It's a great film, but like I had a friend, just like Chris, Gary's wife was like, hey, I'd see that with you. And he's like, absolutely not. If he knows she hasn't seen the other movies. I had a friend that went to see it this weekend, and she didn't see Thor Ragnarok. She didn't see any of the Guardians films. She didn't see Spider-Man Homecoming. So she was lost, and she said it. She was like, I liked the movie, but I didn't know what was going on because of all these characters and the situations that a lot of the characters were in. She didn't get it. So you definitely need to see those previous films.
But you said she enjoyed it, though, right? I mean, I was kind of thinking, I was like, what would somebody think if they came in dry, right? Not knowing those.
Yeah. I guess the action was enough to dazzle her,
But I mean, they might not have a connection to the characters, let alone understand where they are and why they are and all that.
I'm sure there's enough good-looking guys for the girls out there.
but like Brian said, I think the connection to the characters is ultimately what makes this movie so good.
Right. It, Brian, I think you said it on ETR, or maybe it was Plastic Fanatics. I can't remember. A week or two ago, about we've watched some of these actors and actresses play these characters for 10 years. So there's a sense of whether you like them or not, you're accustomed to that emotional connection, just like you said. So that's, I don't know, that's pretty interesting. I'm curious what the rest of you guys think about that.
Yeah, to expound on that a little bit, when you talked about getting the payoff, I mean, these guys, as far as the knowledge I know, they're taking it seriously, right? But I mean, it's not only them doing the best job that they can to portray these characters and understand. From what I've read, they'll read about them and try to understand what their motivations are and all that other stuff. But obviously, the directors have played a big part in taking the property seriously. Except for maybe Ragnarok, but you know what I mean, right? And I mean, it's driven me to collect some of the all of the characters, and dude, I just
life.
yeah, it's been a great 10 years. Never, like you said, I mean, just so much invested, and to have them do right by the fans and also by themselves, considering the millions of hours of work that I'm sure have been put in, by cast and crew, etc. Right?
To put a point on that, like I've never been to a movie, and I'm not going to spoil who bites the dust or who perpetually bites dust, but I've never been in a movie where there was such an audience reaction to character deaths.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was.
Yep, and not even deaths, but even almost deaths.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
I was
dude, he jammed that thing, and I was like, what?
Yeah, right. That caught me too. I'm like, no, not him.
No,
like, don't do it. Like, the thing is that you kind of were you're expecting at least one major, like, and you don't know. You're watching it for the first time, so that first time experience, you're on the edge.
And they get you early.
Go ahead,
They do.
Oh yeah,
get them early.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hearing you guys talk, right? And it's fascinating to me because I think comic book movies have a tendency to be almost very superficial, right? Very canned. People know what to expect. And I'm with you. Like, I'll know, like, I was feeling a lot of emotion. There was a woman sitting next to me, and she was a little bit extreme, but there were points in the movie where she was outright sobbing about things that were happening.
yeah.
They made it seem like there was a lot at stake, and that was another thing that made the movie feel so effective. Is you didn't feel like, oh, the good guys are going to win at the end of this. It's there felt like there was gravitas to it.
There's definitely gravitas, dude. They captured the struggle on the good side and the bad side. Dude, these fights, man. These people. I mean, this was fucking 4th and 10. With all the cards down, end of the 4th quarter, these guys are fucking going after trying to save the fucking world, man. I
enjoyed it. It's definitely I can't see anybody who put time and invested in all these movies and watching them and seeing that they were disappointed with this movie because it was just it brought all the pieces together. It really fleshed out all the characters. You were obviously attached to all of them, and I know we don't want to spoil it, but there's certain scenes that I really enjoyed to the point where, and it's not the action scenes. I thought, with the Soul Stone and that whole scene.
Yeah.
The reveal there.
The reveal there. And, I know people talk about this movie and says it's a Thanos movie, but I'm glad that they made it and gave him a character. He could come in and just be a badass and evil guy, but I think with like him being so diverse and showing, what his destiny was and why he thought what he was like, and then his relationship with his children and Grimir. So like, I feel like it was just, they did a really good job with that character.
He had weight, he had depth. The motion captured the emotion on the face and scenes. I was like, this is fucking incredible.
Well, dude, they were giving us emotion, but those characters were going through emotions during the film.
Oh,
well.
God,
absolutely.
Yeah, man.
This movie had for all that was going on, there were so many character arcs, and I think that's the thing that my friends and I, when we saw it, we walked away asking, like, who was your favorite character arc?
The funny thing is that like I gain a lot of more likeness to Doctor Strange. I watched the Doctor Strange movie, and I didn't really come off and oh, he's awesome. He's one of those B-list characters that okay, he's Doctor Strange, but like his involvement in this whole movie, I think really like his moment between him and Starks and just really showing his abilities and how powerful he is.
Yeah.
I was amazed. It made me like him more. I would love to see another movie with him. And just all the characters that I wouldn't expect that I would be like, because you got the Hulk, you got the Thor, you got Iron Man.
But the Hulk had an interesting arc in this. Too.
Yeah.
That's the minus 0.5 on my rating.
See, I liked it because like for the first time, the Hulk. Banner wanted the Hulk to be there, and he couldn't.
Yeah, but I don't. But like, to me, that was the plot hole. I'm like, did I miss something in Ragnarok? Did I miss something in Ragnarok?
No, you didn't miss anything. See, the Hulk spent 2 years as the Hulk, completely uncontested. Then Thanos shows up, beats his ass in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and Heimdall had to save the Hulk, like using like the last amount of power he had to channel the Bifrost. So the Hulk's like embarrassed and fucking scared, and that's
it's enlightening.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But to me, I'm wondering what the bigger picture is.
But could you have envisioned it any other way? Like if Hulk would have been in that whole movie, he would have just been getting beaten back up over and over. Because what was he going to add to it if he wasn't Bruce Banner?
And I don't think it's. Yeah, I agree with you there. But I don't think
a big brute.
But I don't think it was just all about him being scared. Because Thanos wasn't there in that final battle, like when they started fighting and everything. Like he could have showed he could.
But the Black Order was there, and they knew Thanos was coming. They knew Thanos was coming because Vision had the Soul Stone.
I think there's more to it. I think there could be more
trailer.
Yeah, if they teased it in the trailers,
or the Mind Stone, not the Soul Stone.
Well, that's a teaser for the next movie, I expect.
Yeah.
But
there were lines that were in the trailer but weren't in the movie.
Yeah, but also too, the only other thing with Bruce, dude. I mean, I know Thor became a comedian, but this one was really a fish out of water for him. It just was not good, man.
Rabbit.
No. I mean, Thor in this movie was fine, but what I mean, what they did for Bruce Banner's character is, from the first Avengers, and Ragnarok does not bridge that gap for me.
Yeah,
so.
Well, they seem like they carried that a little bit over with Bruce from Ragnarok and just the whole tone of how that movie was. Like it was a little bit slightly toned down with Thor, but it was still there. Like it was still that Guardians vein, like in those scenes, which was fine to me because it's like. When they were back on Earth and things were serious, you felt it. And then, when they're in space and they're focusing on the Guardians, it feels like a Guardians film. So everybody felt like the way they were supposed to be. Like they did a good job balancing all the different.
I was just going to use that word, Jose. I think, there was a balance there to some stronger emotion and then a little bit of levity and then a different arc and then build up of emotion again versus just the nonstop barrage of liners and jokes and stuff.
I think they did a good job in the balancing of, it's not all of them fighting together. You didn't have all, 12, how many heroes are in the movie, but like they separated in between two groups, and I like that they did that, and the transitions between the stories and actually it was three groups because you had Thor and everybody, in his adventure. That's how you do it right, like. You do it right when you split it like that in three, and then you come all together in one. And and other movies didn't do it that so successful.
Yeah, Star Wars.
Not saying the name, but I'm just saying.
I said it.
Yeah, I feel like the characters, like you could tell some didn't really get that much screen time because they didn't need it. You know what I'm saying? And the characters that needed the screen time got it. And I love the story they told with Thanos. So I definitely would give this movie like a recommend. Like to me, hands down, the best Marvel. I guess if you want to call him a villain, like because you could look at it a completely different way. But to be the villain of the story, like he had, like I said, that depth to his character, even better than the comics.
He had that depth, like the Darth Vader perspective. Like he's the one that you love to hate, and his point of views are different. And at the end of the day, you can
from Watchmen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Same.
Yep. Say it again. I missed that. I didn't hear.
He's Ozymandias from The Watchmen.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good comparison.
Amoral? You mean like an amoral individual?
No, his. It's not that he's amoral. It's just that his views on problem solving don't impact the greater good per se.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was cool, man. I fucking enjoyed it. Yep.
Interesting. So let me ask you guys, we can kind of, I don't know if we need to go down the panel necessarily, but let's go back 10 years, 2008, first Iron Man movie, right? Robert Downey Jr. is being cast as Iron Man. And, you're kind of thinking that it's going to be one of these other, superhero movies. If you think back to when you saw it, did you think you'd be here in 10 years with as many movies and as much product and merchandise and tangents? And
not at all. Because they caught lightning in a bottle with that movie. That movie could have gone any number of ways, and before that movie came out, Iron Man was not an A-list character.
Right.
He was not, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And, you know, that movie is what brought him into the mainstream and made him A-list. And Marvel's just been able to put like just a string of movie after movie after movie, success after success after success. They have a formula, but they work the formula, and the casuals, because they're the ones that are bringing in all the dough. We got the hardcore fans for sure, but these movies are speaking to a lot of people. So that formula seems just to be working for them. They got it, you know, and they're successful.
Yeah. And I think, you know, history has proven since prior to Iron Man that, you know, superhero movies are not successful. They have their 1, 2, 3 runs, and, you know, and actors don't stay, and all of a sudden, you know, you're into, you know, Batman and Mr. Freeze, you know, and it just gets really horrible after that. So, like, you know, I feel like they invested the storytelling and really said, you know what, let's expand it to the point where we're introducing other characters and bringing them together so people stay interested in the movies and the story that we're telling. So,
James, how was it for you? Do you feel like the investment of all the previous movies paid off with this movie?
And James, also, I'd like to know if you like the movie. This man is brutal.
No, I actually
savage when it comes to movies.
Being a comic book fan, also, I was going in there already with the notion of I already knew the story, or, you know, somewhat of the story. But I liked it. I walked out with a smile. I mean, I took my wife and my 2 kids, and they enjoyed it. As far as, you know, over the 10 years that I get some satisfaction of what they're building up, yeah, the formula worked. Nothing to DC, but you got to take note. You don't know what the hell you're doing. You need to build up the characters, then put them together, not like, oh, there's 2 characters and we'll put another one in there, and, you know, it worked. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I liked everything. I enjoyed the development of Thanos. I thought, all right, here's a dude that's obsessed with death to the point he has a love affair with death. Where is death? You know, except for what he's doing, but he's not doing it for death. He's doing it for the greater cause, whether we see it or not. It's just interesting. Now I look at the second movie and feel like, all right, so what are they going to capture from the comic books? You know, I don't know if we're not doing spoilers or trying not to, but a certain female characters are coming. You know, and so it's going to reminiscence of the 70s kind of story arc with Jim Starlin and all that other type of stuff. And then we have the Soul Stone, really thinking, you know, a certain him, but that didn't, you know, take place. And I think it's going to be changed to a certain Gamora, you know, and so, but I won't go into detail.
Interesting. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, the Adam Warlock angle, like I will just say his name. He had the Cocoon in Guardians Volume 2. I think, you know, I don't know if that's a fault on. Yeah, I that might be something that comes into play, like maybe even with the next one that we're not even thinking about. You know,
well, the Soul Stone came out of nowhere. I'm like, when Thor introduced, like, who are you guys when he got saved by the Guardians, and he's like, okay, well, we have the Infinity Stones. We have 2 on Earth, so we already got that established. The rumors, you know, there's the 2 on Earth, and we already know the 2 are the Mind Stone, which is part of Vision, and we had the Time, the Eye of Agamotto. But then he's like, the Soul Stone, though, is we don't know. It's just there somewhere, and it's just funny. So we all thought, it's gonna be out of Warlock.
Yeah.
I like how they tied in an older character you didn't think was gonna be in it. In that part, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, because in that movie he vanishes and we don't know where he went.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
There's a lot of things I did not like about that movie, though. Avengers.
Oh wow.
So I'll just I agree with you, Brian. I think the Hulk should have done something more instead of being Thanos' bitch.
Yeah, that was a little disappointing. I'll agree with that too. I was hoping to see something come from that.
Yeah,
I wanted to see a little more death. But,
they the death angle.
I think they'd use Hela instead of death as we know her.
And they didn't.
Yeah.
Wait, so there's a story arc of death from the comics that
Yeah.
people like me are not aware of?
Yeah, that's the reason in the comic books. That's the reason why Thanos does what he does. Death has a personification in the comics. She looks like a woman, sometimes she looks like a skeleton. And he's in love with her, and the reason why he wants to wipe out half the universe is like as a tribute to her. You know, but that angle wasn't played here. Like you got the angle in this movie is that it's for the good of the universe. There's not enough resources.
Is that why there's like that little death figure that comes with one of the Marvel Selects, I think, or something, right? Isn't there like a 2-pack? Okay.
Yeah,
exactly.
I believe we covered this on an episode of Classic Fanatics, James. We'll have to go back and re-listen to that.
Should know better.
And the thing with the Hulk, like I some people might be upset, but I remember when Ragnarok came out, and since the Hulk can't have his own movie because the rights are complicated, Marvel Studios don't fully own the rights to the Hulk. They said they're doing a 3-part story arc with the Hulk through these movies. So Thor Ragnarok was the first part, this movie is the second part, and the next Avengers will wrap up this story arc that they're trying to tell with them. So just
better come back gray. That's all I gotta say.
I will admit, Jordan, you really opened my eyes on that whole fucking thing. I was like, oh,
I did see it twice.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, I think since it sounds like we all kind of agree that we got a bit of our payoff, with this particular movie. You guys have any other thoughts on where it didn't work out this way? A personal scenario where maybe you had something invested in a property and then you were just really disappointed and you're like it just wasn't worth what it was supposed to be.
I can't. Yeah, for me, I can't really speak on any flaws. Like I enjoyed everything. It's just the only flaw that can be said on the movie as a whole is that you have to know what went on in the previous films to fully appreciate the full scope of this one.
I'm sorry. I thought maybe I wasn't real clear. What I was thinking was, is there like maybe another property that you guys have been a part of? Because like we exact. Thanks, Dom. Appreciate it.
All right.
It's because we collect. I think we're passionate about the hobby. So between buying toys and collectibles and statues and shirts and everything else that goes with it, we do invest a lot.
Matty Collector's Thundercats.
I didn't say that one too. As brief as it was.
That is a sore spot for many. Go ahead, JD.
I want Marvel to do the Star Wars movies. I was trying to say that as like a kid.
I want Marvel to do the Star Wars movies.
I want Disney to do it.
But it's all Disney. It's all under that Disney umbrella. It's
the
people you got working on them.
They're going to play Red Rover with Kathleen Kennedy and Kevin Feige.
Two different studios, though, even if they are owned by the same people.
Yeah.
I mean, toy-wise, I think mainline Transformers, it's just from the generations of old to what we have now. It sucks because I'm still buying it. God damn it.
Battered life, we keep coming back, bro. We keep coming back.
Other franchises, why I'd like to say why I still like the movie The Dark Knight Rises, because you go back and read all the stuff they wanted to do with Ledger, and I don't think that the payoff was there.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think that one's because the casting had to change, right? It was forced to change.
The story.
And that was how many movies, right? It's a trilogy, right? There's 3 movies for that one.
Well, just that you couldn't get the Joker in the third one because of the real life circumstances, And like it sucks, but felt like they did all right.
What did that span? Like 2005 through 2012, I think. So we got 7 years invested into 3. Interesting. Yeah. Anybody else have a thought of a franchise that you've put a lot into that either paid off marginally or not as much as you thought it might?
Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
They're doing another one, right?
Oh.
See, but James, with that, do you feel like it was even the original trilogy that dropped the ball, or just the fact that they did the newer version a few years ago, and it's like,
that. There was Shia LaBeouf coming in there. All that just wasn't.
Yeah.
Because it left it's Transformers. It left, that leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and then you see the same guy in another franchise that you love, and you're like, oh, really? How are you gonna destroy this one? You know,
swinging on trees like monkey.
Yeah, it was campy. It just wasn't what I wanted. For the return of least, like Harrison Ford still can do the movie, but yeah, we put this other guy in there, and now you know, he's getting a little old. Can't really believe.
Man, I was in a good mood. Jamie just reminded me of something that's very unpleasant. I don't like it.
Yeah, there's so many though. Like even with Marvel in itself, like I would say like the original X-Men trilogy. You know, you had a solid first film. The second one was great, and then the third one, even though I enjoy it, like if it's on TV, I'll fucking watch it. But it wasn't the greatest. You know what I'm saying? Especially the way to end that franchise. And same thing with Spider-Man 3. Like, first one, cool. Second one, the best in my opinion, and then the third one, it fell off the rails. And the same thing with Blade. You know what I'm saying? So Marvel got that trifecta there. That third movies are bad.
Wait, what about Blade Trinity? Trilogy. Relax. Blade Trinity is great.
I love this.
Like I said, I could enjoy them, but I just know like the previous movies were better. Like the second, like Blade 2, Spider-Man 2, X-Men 2. It's strange that those sequels were stronger than the originals, you know?
Blade Trinity is what's bringing us Deadpool Part 2 in just a few weeks.
That was Deadpool. He was Deadpool. Hannibal, whatever his character's name was in that flick, he was Deadpool.
Let's talk about the X-Men franchise, the continuity all over the place, and you know.
No, we don't have time for that, Jordan. We need a whiteboard and a graphing calculator.
That meme of Charlie Day connecting all the dots.
Right. So I'll admit to a franchise that I'll say doesn't disappoint me. I get exactly what I expect from seeing it, but yet I feel in a strange, bizarre way connected to the characters.
Care Bears.
And I think Care Bears stare. No. Look, I will admit to going to see every Fast and Furious movie, no matter how ridiculous the action sequences get.
Boy.
I'm with you, man.
I will see every one, but I know what I'm getting going into that.
But
and
Gary can't forget Tokyo Drift, though.
Gary,
there's nothing wrong with Tokyo Drift.
That was actually good. How
I liked
it.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Gary,
some people don't.
Gary, do those Fast and Furious movies pay off for you?
Listen, I get exactly what I want, which is to go be entertained and shut my brain down for 90 minutes. Mm-hmm. I get to see a bunch of cars built up and do ridiculous things, and I don't know, but yeah. So I guess because my expectations aren't high, it pays off for exactly what I'm looking to get out of it. Right? It's like a savings account. It doesn't really do much for you, but it doesn't hurt you either. Yeah,
exactly.
I have a franchise that I just thought about that comes to mind, and
Dave?
It's Aliens. So Aliens, I loved the first two movies, and I enjoyed things about every one that came out after, but not the entire flick. So that fell off for me too. So like I was a big Aliens fan, and then they just kept dragging along Sigourney Weaver so long, and fucking once they started cloning her and shit, I was just like, what am I? Like it was okay, but
did you not like Resurrection? I thought that was fine.
I like things about it. I like things about it, but like
I like it when he goes, "Who are you?" She's like, "I'm the monster's mother."
Is that an actual line?
Yeah.
It's like what's gonna happen, in all those movies. It's like everybody's gonna die, and one person or two people are gonna survive at the end, and every movie's like that.
Interesting. All right.
The winning formula.
So in this Avengers movie, I think I was you guys prompted a couple questions in my head. I want to make sure I get out while I still have the opportunity, because I am the captain of the ship. I got my Star-Lord shirt on. But thanks, JD. It kind of got me thinking a little bit. Some of you guys have multiple Darth Vaders, and James, while we've got you, look, I know that you have a pretty extensive collection in a lot of different areas. But it's a concept of troop building, and JD, you do quite some pretty intensive scene construction and army building. Brian, you like the primes, which is kind of similar. It's a character, but I just kind of see what you guys think. What is it about troop building, and who actually does it, and what do you troop build, and what's the payoff for there, right? What do you get out of it? getting multiples of the same toy that you have a lot of.
Well, you gotta. For me, it's like I'm putting the figures in perspective of the movies. So you just can't have one stormtrooper or two. You know what I'm saying? And then you have Vader, Leia, Luke. You know what I mean? The more stormtroopers you have, the more real your collection's gonna feel. I mean, that's what I get out of it.
I mean, there should be like 20 troopers to like one main character.
Right. Exactly.
Damn.
And with the Star Wars franchise, like when they brought that whole the clones, the whole clone thing into it, it took it to a whole new level. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
JD has fucking 500 stormtroopers.
So what David's trying to say is when Anakin walks into the Jedi Temple, he didn't have one trooper with him. He had 50, so you got to get 50.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, the concept of army building, I'm not like I don't do it often, and it's something that I never really did back in the day. But those Transformers Prime Viacons, like I love that figure so much, and those were the grunts of the show. Like that was the first time I like attempted like army building. I must have like I know there's people that have a ton of them. I got like maybe 8 or 9, and every time I find one for like $15 or less, I pick it up. You know, but the stormtrooper thing, like I get it. Like, you know, if you're trying to, if you do figure photography or, you know, have your collection on display, you're right. One stormtrooper ain't gonna fucking do it. You want to set the scene. You want to see what you saw in the film. So, I definitely get the mentality and shout out to the toy companies and you know that produce like the characters and make them in that way. So you have to do that and fucking buy the product, you know, because they know some people might not do it and be like, man, I can't fucking drop all that dough on buying the same thing over and over and over again. Right. But then you're gonna have those that will, you know.
Dude, just release them in multi-packs.
Yep,
it'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah, and so, Gary, this is not an army of primes.
Yeah, I mean, I've got
character focused collection.
It's a gaggle
shelf, but I don't consider that troop building. I consider that just kind of collecting different iterations of a character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because each toy is different. Engineering is different, you know, when it comes to Prime and stuff like that. So it is a little bit.
I own 4 stormtroopers and 4 clone troopers because
that's
I need them sitting behind the
amateur.
You're not meeting
Rookie.
Yeah, you're not meeting JD's.
He's got a cute little gaggle.
So it's an interesting point. So you know, but Dave, you mentioned it's kind of like the realism. So if you're trying to create like a more realistic scene, but when you look at the money that goes into it. I mean, what are the thoughts there? Like, I think from an economic principle, there's a diminishing return, right? If a stormtrooper costs $20 and you get your second, your third, and your fourth, I'm just saying, it's like, by what point does the 5th, 6th, 7th, version, whether it be figure arts or Black Series or
never, Gary, never.
Is it really never though? Seriously,
like,
is it
funny,
really,
Gary? It's a good question because, like, well, at least in like the groups and stuff, like. That's the first thing to go is the troop builders. It's the stormtroopers because they're usually at a lower cost point than a mainline figure like a Luke or a Anakin because obviously those are harder to find. But you can probably buy a bundle of them, 5 or 6 at a pop, and you're not burning your pockets. You know what I mean? They even if it's SH Figuarts where they might come out retail for $50, $60. For some reason, they go down in price, like, so at least with me, I purchased most of mine for like $35, $40 a pop and they hold their weight. Like I just see them constantly, people flipping them, like if I wanted to flip my collection tomorrow, people want droids, they want clone troopers, they want phase 1, you name it, they're hunting for it. More so than a mainline character. Like I said, with the Vader, the first version that'll go for $40 today, maybe less because nobody wants it because a new one came out.
There's no army of Vaders,
right?
James.
So it sounds like it's. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to ask James. James troop builds like
everything.
Yes, he troop builds mazingers.
I do. The reasoning behind what I do is like you guys already said, you don't want to have just one, two. You want to have your main guy in front, and then you want to have that huge army behind him. Regardless, I don't do pictures that often and such to showcase it, but it's just
for yourself. Right?
It's just fun to have them.
Yeah.
It goes back to childhood, just like I wish I had a couple, more than just the one or two. And now I have the ability to have, 50 stormtroopers, 50 foot soldiers. I got over 300 clone troopers.
Wow.
And, I got 50 Vipers, Crimson Guards, Bats, Eels. I mean, yes, it does get to a point where you look at it not from a cost perspective. For me, I look at it as a space issue. And I'm like, now that's going to take away from something else that I could put on the shelf. But if you've been collecting for a long time, you're going to have an army worth of Vaders, Snake Eyes, Batmans, Optimus Primes. I mean, because if you're buying and you like the character, but you're buying the next version of it, you're going to look at it like, oh man, look, I have 150 Batmans. It's like, yeah, I could maybe narrow it down to one, but it's like then the wave or set that you completed is not complete now because you don't have that character in there. And then it adds up and it builds up and it's like, oh crap.
Yeah. And then there's so many different versions as well, because then, even with Star Wars, like you got Black Series, and then you got troopers that I'm sure that are producing that look like Rebels from the cartoon or the Clone Wars and stuff like that. And then you want to army build those too. So it can get crazy with all the different versions of the characters that are out there.
So with you guys, when you're buying the multiples, do you get the same, JD, you mentioned, I think on another show, that you get the excitement when you find the item and then you get another piece of excitement when you open it, right? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Like, for instance, JD, with your Royal Guard sets, like that's nuts. Right. You're crazy. You're crazy.
It's like what, 10 sets of them.
What's going on there?
All right.
Just different. Yeah, just different. Like the last season of Rebels, there's 3 of them in there that he fights at the end that don't have the capes, so I needed some of them. The Emperor always has 6 of them with him at all times. Yeah. But I mean, mostly the reason I do it is all these shelves are gonna have dioramas on them at some point here when I get them finished. So
as you're adding them, JD, did you find the same excitement when you found those at even at GameStop, right? I'm assuming that's where you found them. Was it did it get boring by set number 5 and it was just mechanical? Okay, here's another 4 that's going to fit the image, or is it like Dave said? You got them cheaper, maybe, right? Because you found them on clearance, so you're excited about the value.
Yeah. What is it? A $100 set or a $90 set? I got it for $30. So it's just interesting. I asked the girl, I was like, so how many of these do you have? And she looked and she's like, I got 10 of them in the back. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll take this many. That was it. Because it was something I was thinking about. I was like, okay, well, I need more of these guys and I need more of these guys. What do I want to do? Right. So I took all my Praetorian guards and I popped all the heads off. And they all have soft good skirts now because of that 4-pack, rather than that big plastic hunk of shit that hangs off their waist and you can't utilize the articulation. So, and sometimes I'll troop build stuff so I can tear them apart and make something completely different.
Nice.
Use parts and shit.
I'm a little bit hypocritical, I guess, in my questioning because I realize, Dave, you pointed out I have 3, thanks to some people in the realm. I have 3 of the Unique Toys Parakill Steel Jaws, right, in my Transformers display. And I am guilty because I like that dewback so much. I bought a second one. And I will admit,
he needs a friend.
I know.
Army build.
I opened it and I'm like, I like it, but then part of me was a little guilty because I'm like, there's $60 I could have put towards something else,
Don't feel guilty, Gary.
I know.
Just do it.
Just do it. Right? It's okay. I guess I'll ask you guys, because James, I like what you said though about, you're thinking back to when you were a kid, and maybe, very few of us probably had multiple, Cobra Troopers or, regular Stormtroopers when you were little, right? Is there anything, you guys on the panel, is there anything that you still want to accumulate in volume that you haven't been able to yet as grown-ups, so to speak?
No, not really. I feel like what I'm doing now, just being a toy collector, is kind of doing that. Like, we're not buying this. I mean, I'm not looking to buy the stuff, that I collected as a kid, as cool as it might be, but it's just.
Dude, you're trip building those fucking expensive bikes.
Yeah, but that's, it's a new thing. It's a newer figure. So with that, I'll do that gladly. It just depends on what I'm interested in and if it fits. With those bikes, that's the fiction. It's a biker gang. 7 deep in the gang, and then the Spectre Rogues. They didn't put a number on that gang, but it's another group. So in a way, it's what's how they work the story, but then they know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? You're buying fucking multiples of the same fucking thing over and over and over again, and they're making their money. So I guess in that aspect, again, I won't do it all the time. Thankfully, I'm not that into Star Wars that I want to collect the figures. Otherwise, I'd be fucking true building like Dave and James. And sometimes sometimes you have to wonder when enough is enough. I wanted to shout out Shelf Warmer real quick in the chat, because he did want have an opinion on the topic. And he said with the primes, you could collect them mint in box and it would still make sense. And if you army build, say 50 or so of the same Stormtrooper figure, but mint on card, it wouldn't make the same sense. He says personally, he thinks something like that is excessive. And he was like, if I want to look at a movie scene, I'll watch a film. He was like, I like that. Nice. He said, I would rather have one carded example of a trooper than 50 loose. And that's just me. So
yeah, he's right. I was just thinking the same thing. If I was somebody that collected mint in box and I didn't open my figures to play with them, or like JD does, where he does scenes, because the main thing with me is I'm trying to use my imagination when I'm buying these figures. So I do have a grand scheme eventually that'll come into play, similar to JD, where I'll have these fight scenes and it won't make sense if I have 1 or 2 Stormtroopers, and fighting 7 Jedi. It makes no fucking sense. You need 30 of those fucking, I'm just talking out my ass, droids, fucking clones, whatever. You need a significant amount to get that picture that you envision and actually display it. Now, mint in box, you only could have one, or like Hot Toys, for example, right? I just got into that shit. I'm not going to go and buy 50 fucking Stormtroopers. Really? But I might get 3 or 4. You know what I mean?
Everybody check back with us in July of 2018.
Listen, it's just not cost effective to do something, and the space, it just doesn't make sense. I know people that do it, but they must have obscene amounts of money or a lot of space.
I got to write show 18 down so we can remember this.
But I could see myself buying 3, maybe 4 of a Stormtrooper. You know what I mean?
18.
Maybe one rendition of the newer movies. Each version of a Death Trooper or a Short Trooper.
There's the fucking loophole. We're getting loopholes, right? Exactly.
Did something happen earlier this week? I have to point it out with Dom. Dom, we have a story for them, don't we?
Yeah.
About the same scenario.
So please share.
So you guys know that I'm after the Hot Toy Luke, the Bespin Luke. So there was a couple opportunities on eBay this week to grab one, especially with the sale that happened. I guess what it was, a Monday, Tuesday, and one particular seller had the Bespin Luke and several other Hot Toys. There were Star Wars Hot Toys. One of which was a Stormtrooper. So I know Dave has purchased a double pack, and he had a double pack of the Stormtrooper. So I was like, and I told Dave I was going to bid on that Bespin Luke.
No, you didn't.
And yeah, I did. No, the Bespin Luke. The Bespin Luke. You did.
Yeah. Okay.
But I didn't bring up the fact that I was going to bid on the Stormtrooper, because I felt, he had 2. Why would you want more? And, I forgot who Dave was, and I guess, Dave always wants more. But like the funny thing is that I put a bin in. I put a max bin on the figure, and lo and behold, Monday he called me and I told him that that Bespin Luke. I purchased the Bespin Luke with the deal that they had going, but I kept my eye on the other Bespin Luke just in case he went for a real cheap and maybe hook up Dave with that one because I know he's looking for one as well. So
listen, you're dragging the story.
Yeah.
Get to the gist of the fucking story.
But basically,
listen. All right, Dominic.
God, geez,
Dominic goes. He says he's bidding on a fucking $600 fucking toy. Okay. He fucking bids on it. Look, his wife must be listening because he needs so, he bids on this fucking toy, right? I'm thinking, okay, he's cool. Who the fuck's gonna spend $600 and then go spend another $200 on something else? So they had this Stormtrooper. I bid on it. It was low price. I was like, fuck it. I could get this for $160. I'm gonna get this for $160. So now I'm bidding.
It wasn't $160, guys.
At one point it was. At one point.
Yeah,
okay?
but
so then
it was
$215. 2 hours before the fucking the bidding ends, I get the message that the bid's gonna end. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll fucking outbid. It looks like it's in the middle of the day, so you think nobody else is gonna bid. So I bid on it. Maybe 5 minutes later, your bid's not enough, right? So some asshole fucking outbid me. So then I did again. Nope, you will not lose. So you know what? I say, I'm gonna wait because obviously he's an asshole.
What if that was me?
No, it was me. It was me.
It was Dominic. So
it was fucking me, dude.
It gets to the point where it's like 30 seconds left. I bid again,
up.
And I lost it. I'm like, fucking motherfucker. So then I'm talking to him like yesterday.
Monday.
And he's like, yeah, and I won this Stormtrooper too from the same guy. And I'm like, that was you bidding on that fucking thing? He's like, why, that was you who bid me up? And I'm like, yeah, bro, you didn't tell me you were getting that. And he's like, oh,
why do you need another Stormtrooper?
What do you need another Stormtrooper for? I said, the two Stormtroopers I have are from Rogue One. I need the one from A New Hope.
Complete,
is this your first Stormtrooper?
Yes.
See, why you gotta be so like feisty with your boy, man?
Listen, because Jordan, if I would have knew he was bidding on it,
he has two, Jordan. He has two already.
I'm on your side here, man.
I know.
But to find out that you're bid on a bidding war on eBay, your
with
fucking
your boy, yo, that's fucking crazy.
Dude, what the hell are you doing bidding like an hour before the thing? You wait till 5 seconds. You fucking zoom.
Right before,
sometimes you have to throw one out a little bit before to know where you're at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who's biting? Who's
biting?
No, you just wait till the last second and like, this is as much as I'm gonna pay.
As they're willing to pay.
It's either enough or it's not enough.
Yep, exactly. That's how I do it.
But
I always know what's the most I'm willing to pay, and if I get outbid, then fuck it.
But you gotta know Dave. You gotta know Dave as a person. When he puts that bid in that last moment, with like a minute left, and he gets outbid, you know he's jacking it up. He's like, that motherfucker ain't gonna beat me.
Yep.
But I
gotta
did
fucking have it.
But I did.
I'm glad I bid you up and you paid more money for it.
You owe me $15.
Oh shit, that's funny, man. I'm glad it wasn't like some like $40, $50, $60 bid up and shit.
Nah, it was like 15 more bucks than
15 more bucks
we planned.
That's funny.
So for everybody listening, that's the opposite of patience saving pockets. It's not. So it didn't work out that time. Go ahead, Dom.
No, Gary, with troop building, like I remember when I got into Black Series, I actually put myself a cap because I've troop built before with Transformers, like the Viacons, like Jose said. I have over 40 Viacons, like,
Oh, just dude, shoot me some, bro.
So no, they're mine. Shut up.
He's like, no. He needs them. He needs them.
The Sharkticon that came out, the Legend one. I bought all of them up because I just wanted an army of Sharkticons.
Yep.
But when it came to Star Wars, I knew I was going to get into that same kind of feels, and I capped myself at like 10. I would get only 10 stormtroopers of each stormtrooper, and that's
not
it.
Enough.
I know it's not enough, but to me, I felt like, you know, to manage my funds and to manage, you know, my habit of you know, overindulging on troopers like that, I felt 10 would be more than enough for me. But that's how I went. And you know, I encourage people to find, like, you know, if you're going to troop build, understand that it's a deep hole in regards to how far you can go.
What no one understands is that when Dom says 10 of each, he means like every single figure that he buys.
No. The main characters I have one.
Come on, man.
No, the main characters I have
play
one.
along
But
with that shit.
I know. I have 10 of each stormtroopers. Like anything stormtroopers. Yeah, because Dave wants one of my sand troopers, but after bidding me up $15,
Hey, I did find a loophole though in the Star Wars troop building shit. You know, anybody that puts the Bandai model kits together, that's a good way to save some money. You know what I mean? So,
I thought you were going to talk about using mirrors or something.
Right, that's what I was thinking. It's like some optical illusion, or Photoshop a backdrop and print it. You know, like a matte painting.
I got a question on that. When I was at Star Wars Celebration last year, Kotobukiya had like all of the they had like a display where they use statues. Would any of you guys ever consider using statues for like your troop building?
I seen what you're talking about. That I seen a scene where they were coming out the water. They even had the water part of it coming out. It looked pretty cool. And to your point, I mean, they're one-offs. They're not really army building type of things. But the Luke Skywalker on Hoth statue that came out, I bought that to go along with my Black Series Figuart stuff. You know, so I don't see why not. You know what I mean? If you're just trying to do a scene,
yeah. You're talking about the signature statues that came out for like for Black Series.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Hasbro encourages it. Like, you know, that they they know what they got. You know, like it's unfortunate that they don't, you know, do multi-packs where they put like 5 stormtroopers in a pack and sell it for $40 or $35.
Keep up with production. Would you guys be happy if they did something like that? And even if they were like maybe slightly less quality, but you could get more of them for like a somewhat cheaper price, like not 20 per figure. Like, would you guys be down for something like that?
They already make them like as cheaply as possible, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I mean, they're still good quality, but I mean, if they could stay on the same level that they are now, that would be fine. I would be all right with it.
Like, but they charge 20 a figure. So like, let's say if there was a 5-pack, you'd be fine paying 100 for that. Like, or like, like would you see them putting it at a little bit of a cheaper price? Because it's like
maybe sell it for $75-$80. You'd be good.
See, they're slick with that. They do that, Jose, but they do like 4 packs of variations of different troopers, you know. So in order to get what you want, you have to buy 4 packs of the 4 packs anyway, you know.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to ask, because I'm not sure if anybody else is in the know, but with stuff like that in regards to troop building, like, do you think the toy companies produce more of that figure because they know people are going to troop build?
Not Hasbro.
Not Hasbro.
Hasbro.
So it's just luck of the draw. You just got to go find them. Like,
even still, if I find stormtroopers, any stormtroopers, I'll buy it. I don't give a shit.
I think Bandai does it.
Yeah,
I know Lego does it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wish there was a way to know if concretely if these companies did that, like figures that are meant to be like troop build. You know, like, do they make more? You know,
they don't even put more per case. They just put the last Stormtrooper was 1 per case.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like this last the Han Solo release, they had 2 of the stormtroopers in
2
that
of the
case,
range troopers. Yeah.
But they rarely do it.
Yeah. He was like the perfect legend for troop building, and I only ever saw him once.
I never saw him ever.
Really?
Yep.
Who was that?
What was his name? Viper. Yeah. Oh. He was
Viper uppercut.
The Combiner Wars figure that actually had the Cobra insignia on him.
Oh, Viper. Oh, yeah. That was like the G.I. Joe homage, right? That's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, based on the Rattler, right?
Yep.
Well, it's interesting. Like I said, I think I guess I'm semi-guilty of some, buying multiples of the same thing on occasion over the years for different ones. No, it's true. No, you're right, Dave. It's like how many mech suits can you have, right? Before, the colors are different or the styles are different and you realize it's essentially buying the same thing again. So,
but it's really not. It's not the same thing.
It's not. But again, I think it's a perspective of I can look at the movie, I can look at someone else's display and maybe get some of the same feels. And look, I just feel sometimes when I look at a replicate that I've purchased, I'm like, God, I could have got something different, and then it kind of prompts me to do the old the toy flip and
like that, Gary.
Yeah. He's like, I'll look at this dude's display and get the same feels, and I'll keep my $500 in my wallet.
Exactly. Dude, I could have not bought Flame Toys Drift and just watched Deluxe's review and been like, good, okay, watch his review, talk to Jordan, I'm good, right? Check it out.
But Gary, don't you ever look at something you got and be like, oh, I could have bought 5 more of this other thing if I hadn't bought this?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's actually a very good perspective as well. I mean, there's plenty of things that, multiples of one or build up for one single one, I guess, right?
I tell you though, you go nuts though if you keep thinking that way though.
Yeah.
If Bondi does those Jaeger drones and robot spirits, I'm
fuck yeah. Me too. So
Gary, Gary, before you go, JD, but Gary, you think that way, you get into that Voltron trouble shit. So stop thinking that way.
Trust me, that's why I bought the Flame Toys Drift. I'm like, I cannot repeat that scenario. I can't emotionally handle that roller coaster ride for another 12 months.
That would have been a new drinking game. You got to say drift, take a shot.
Exactly. Listen, I got to just, I'd rather be on the safe side going forward.
I'm not drinking drift. That's a knucklehead.
JD, what were you going to say before?
I was just going to ask anybody who jumped into the Mythic Legion thing, the pre-order.
Yeah, thanks to Brian and fucking Dominic. Listen, don't.
Yeah, but hey, are you troop building them? Like
yes.
Skeletons and shit.
Yeah. Actually, it's your fault because you're the one that said you and Chan were up late buying all those fucking things. Then you got off, and it was me, Brian, and Dom, and an after show hangout.
No, it was Brian. It was Brian because he was up on the site first.
All right. Yeah. Well, it was Brian's fault, and the three of us together after midnight, it's like Gremlins. You can't.
And then Tim came on. Can't feed all hell broke.
But like for example, with the troop building with them, they do have specific figures for troop builders. It's a cheaper price, lesser paint. Applications on them, but like if you want to troop build some soldiers, some skeletons, they offer that opportunity at a lower price. So
see, that's good.
Cool what they're doing.
Yeah, I think they like companies should do something like that. Like for the people that want to do that, like just take a small dip in quality if you have to.
Well, look, I'll just say Hot Toys will do that with the Iron Man series, and I know I think Brian, you guys are talking about giving Tim and I some slack on the Hulkbuster, the 2.0 version, but I think it's a power posed version, right? It is what they label it, but it's usually not die cast and it's less articulated to make a nice backdrop mech, right, or an armor, to kind of that maybe not as prominent from one of the movies.
Yeah, I also I just don't mean to interrupt, but I'm sorry, but I think they lowered the price considering that it's piloted by a pussy Hulk, so that's probably what
another reason why I was not down for the 2.0 after seeing the movie.
It's also vinyl.
Yeah, exactly. So, but so I think there are some options out there sometimes of trying to get that scenery piece that's a little bit less expensive. But we're coming up on the kind of the edge of the time here. Brian, I shouldn't assume, but are you tracking the chat for us tonight?
You go ahead and assume all you want there.
You know what happens. You know that rule when you assume stuff, right?
Yeah, I have been tracking it. I have indeed. So, starting off here, we have Chat winging them. Starting off the list as usual. We have Dave, the True Star Screamer, in here. Danny V, Alex C, Rogor71, Shoki Reviews, Adrian A from Australia. Sportimus is in here. Sunday Heat, Night of Ren, Retro Now, who was completely he was wasted in laughter after the Dave and Dom bidding war story. We had Ed F in here, Dry Sama 7, Deluxe Baldwin, EE Prime 20. Walter Y was in here. Ralph Fell was in here. Jedi Mindset. Josh F. Brad D. We had Codemus Prime G1. Funny thing about Codemus Prime, it is super late over there overseas right now. I have a feeling he might be participating through a plane Wi-Fi. He's on his way here this week.
Nice.
I think
I got my eye open, Cody.
Gonna be
looking around, Cody.
He might be on the plane right now. We got a Shelf Warmer T-Man 978 and Jason Y popped in. Oh, and also internet personality Justin L.
Nice. Justin L. Thanks, guys.
All right, so we'll go ahead and go down the line and let our listeners know and the other members of the community where we can find everybody at. James, thanks again so much for taking the time to be here. I know it's not easy for you with the time zone and stuff, but where can we find you at?
Thanks for having me on, guys. You can find me Victory Saber 77 on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So
awesome. Plastic Fanatics Saturday nights. Super engaging show. Definitely a great way to learn a lot about the different parts of our hobby here for sure.
Oh, for sure, dude. I'm listening to the last episode and I appreciate all the information that you're giving on the G.I. Joe 86 because, like, dude, I'm listening and I'm like, man, to find out Dr. Mindbender, like, he wasn't like in the original show, like he came like after the movie. Like, I have fucking no clue. So the history lesson is good. I'm good. I got about another.
Dude, there's been many a times. On Sunday, I've searched eBay for a toy. On the Blast from the Past. I'm like, son of a bitch, I did not need that, but I do.
Cops.
Awesome.
Cops.
Yes. Fuck yeah.
James, I just want to let you know I have to play my occasional miss a podcast card for you. I won't be able to make it this weekend.
man, it's over.
Yep, done. Broke up. Done. Relationship done.
Spot. Awesome. All right, Dave, Energon.
Yes, sir. Energon,
where are you hiding out?
Under your bed. Energon,
I should be so lucky.
On Instagram, here on Tuesdays, and on Facebook, David Cologne.
Stop trolling me on eBay, Dave.
Listen. Good stuff. JD, let us know.
You can find me on Facebook, JD Brocious. Pigment Surgery on Instagram and Xbox Live. Here with you guys on Tuesdays, every Tuesday. And whenever finger banging starts again, we'll keep you posted.
Is that's still a thing? Okay,
it's I guess.
Whoa!
I'm still saying we should have been spoofing every other week until Ace came back. But all right.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
So, Dom, I'm going to come back to you. We'll hear from We'll hear from Jordan first because I'm the captain. So,
Gary's the captain now.
So
I don't, Gary, I don't give a
look at me. Look at me. I'm the captain.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can find me on the Facebook groups as James Jordan. You can find me on Twitter at The Original Zero, PlayStation Network and Xbox Live, Extra Zero. Still working on getting my Instagram up to par. And, of course, you can find me here with these fine gentlemen every Tuesday night.
Awesome. Appreciate it. All right, Dom, set you up, buddy. Where you at?
In your grocer's freezer.
I'm not going to be here. I tell you that right now. No respect, I tell you. No respect. Now you can find me here on Tuesdays and Dominic Ross on the Facebook groups.
Fantastic. All right, dude. Thank you. Appreciate that. Jose, where are you?
What's up, guys? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Xbox Live, and the PlayStation Network, all at Harrick and BX. And here every single Tuesday night on Breaking the Mold. Great show.
Fantastic. And Mr. Brinkalizer?
Shit.
This
Brian.
is gonna be a routine.
And I'm usually used to going first. At Brinkalizer on Instagram. And that's where you can find me.
Okay, awesome. Well, before I kind of close us out, Jordan, I'm going to say thank you for your tech savviness. Like, I'll hit Jordan up and be like, hey, can you make a picture or make a meme with this? and he gives about a 2-minute delay, and then he hits me up with what it looks like. So Gary Allen, find me on the Facebook groups, but he posted a little picture for me as put my head on Jean-Claude Van Damme, which I found entertaining. So it certainly brightened my Tuesday afternoon.
Did we post one of you kicking Brink?
False.
I didn't post that one up yet. I didn't put that one, but I did put it up on my Instagram, to which Jose immediately gave me some tutelage on how to do it more effectively. So I quickly retracted it and fine-tuned my skills. So so I actually used my Instagram account, which was a first for me. I don't know, in a little while.
Sweet. It gave me the notification. G Money has posted for the first time in a while. I love it.
Who says I can't, utilize social media, right, for more than selfies at the gym, Brian? Right? Isn't that what I get?
Yeah. Can you please stop that? I would, but
Tanya likes it too much. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Dude, I'm bringing her this weekend. So she can kick all your.
I hit him with like 5 of those this week too, right now.
Well, listen, guys, we do appreciate all the participation. I appreciate you guys taking the time to be here this week. It's fun for us, but it's great to kind of have the feedback and the thoughts from the chat as well. We're a friendly community, here in the Realm of Collectors. Give some quick recognition. Some friends of our show at Figure Photography Crate on Instagram, tfprototype.com, third party TF Crashers on Facebook, Kuma Style with some great reviews and photos there. Retro Now on YouTube, TKO and Blackout and Shout. We do have an official website here. It's realmofcollectors.com. Constantly updating it with some fresh merchandise, some fresh swag. It's always changing. Don't be that member that misses out on new merch that comes and goes. So, and any proceeds we get from that, it's immediately reinvested back into the Realm of Collectors. The time and energy that goes into behind the scenes, making sure all these different shows are available for us and people can participate. Again, Facebook, find us Realm of Collectors, at Realm of Collectors on Instagram. If you did not like this week's hosting duties, please send your complaints to Dave Colon at Energon Addict for life at Gmail, and he will gladly field your complaints and give me some constructive feedback afterwards.
Yeah, and I have his home address, so don't worry.
Yes.
What was that email address again?
Yeah.
And if you need somebody to bid up your auctions on eBay, give them a call too.
Guys, we do have you motherfuckers around.
We do have venues for you to share your shelf life and your collection videos, as well as any unboxings, what's in the fucking box. And for one of our very active members, Jason, you can share the what's in the fucking box with some other people once in a while. You don't have to do it every day. But send those at entertherealmcast at gmail.com. So listen, it was a lot of fun tonight. I appreciate everybody being patient with working through the hosting duties and sharing and participating in the topics that we had. I think we're probably going to post a link for an unbroadcasted hangout, so feel free to pop in and share some thoughts for a little bit. Those of you who know, I'm going to do my best to stay up past 10 o'clock. And, it always makes for a good time there when I'm
Gary,
up late.
I'm proud of Gary. He made it till 11 last
Word
week.
up.
Yes, a couple weeks in a row. But listen, thank you guys for all that you do, and everybody have a great week. And we'll see you out there in the collecting world.
All right, peace out.
Awesome.
Peace out.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.